things that are special about this house. The first thing is it was built in 1841, which is a really long time ago. To give you guys an idea, that was before the light bulb, before electricity, before cars, and before the Civil War. The second thing that was cool about this house is in 1848, Wyatt Earp was born in that room upstairs. This was not his house. He didn't live here, but his aunt lived here. And he was born here because his mother needed help because her husband had just gotten out of the hospital and he needed somebody to help take care of him. Of course, you guys know most people didn't go to the hospital back then when they had a baby. They had the baby in their house. At that time, this was all wilderness, and this house would have been in the country, and none of these other houses would have been here. It was a wild area, and the grass would have been really tall because this was all prairie, and people would have been riding on horses. When Wyatt Earp was born, there were wolves in this area, and the courthouse, if you took the ears of a wolf that you killed to the courthouse, they would pay you $6 for killing the wolf because they were trying to thin out the population in this area because they didn't want to have a lot of wolves.
Do you guys know who Wyatt Earp was?
No. He was a famous gunslinger and he was also a sheriff.
That's right. He was also an outlaw. He was an outlaw and he was a sheriff. He also was a referee for boxing matches. And later in his life, before he died, he was a consultant for movies. He lived out in LA in California. When they would get ready to shoot a movie for the Western theme, they would consult him.
He's known for having a quick reaction. If somebody was doing something that he didn't agree with, he didn't want to have to use his weapons, so he would just punch them and try to end the fight without having to use guns. And he's famous for a shootout that happened in Tombstone, Arizona at the OK Corral. He's famous for not having ever been shot, even though he was involved in a lot of shootings.
Yeah, he was in a lot of gunfights, but he was never shot.
Right.
You guys have any questions?
How did he die?
He died of natural causes in his 80s. He was an old man when he died.
1929.
Yep.
Uh-huh. It's a replica, so it's heavy and it feels like a real gun, but it doesn't shoot.
Do you guys see the wagon that's sitting over there in the driveway? Wyatt Earp would have driven one of those with money in a box under the seat. And he would have driven money for the banks. That's how they transported money from place to place. And his job was to drive the stagecoach while somebody would sit in the seat next to him and protect the money. That was part of how he became famous, was how he was brave and courageous and a good shot when he was younger and just starting out. Where is he buried? In California.
Yeah, out in LA County.
So, do you have his famous?
We do not. No.
I wish we did.
So, is this like the real area he was in?
Yeah, he was born here and he lived here for a short period of time, and then he moved to Pella, Iowa, and he lived there for a period of time and came back to Monmouth.
And there's a rumor that his horse is buried here somewhere in Monmouth. His horse died while he was visiting.
So have you guys ever heard of somebody say, I got shotgun when you're going for a ride in a car? Where do you think that came from? So not him, but if you were on a covered wagon, the guy sitting next to the guy that's leading the horses, he would carry a shotgun and he would protect the wagon.
Do you know exactly where the horse was buried?
We think we have an idea, and there is someone that claims that they can determine if it's actually buried there or not. So there is talk about looking into that further.
Finding the exact spot and marking it.
What year did the horse die?
Oh, I don't know.
I don't know.
That gives you something
got
to
me.
look up.
Do you know where the shootout was when he
The OK Corral, that was in Tombstone, Arizona. So that was not here.
He traveled a lot.
Yeah, he spent time in a lot of states, in Colorado, Iowa, Nebraska, Arizona, California. He even made it all the way up to Alaska for several years. And anywhere that he went, he seemed to start a business. He had a lot of businesses.
In June, on the 26th, we're gonna have an open house here, and you can learn how to make rope and how to start a fire with flint and stone.
Wash clothes on a washboard,
Yeah, with
like
a
what they would have done
board and
before
a
there
tub.
was electricity and washer and dryers.
And you can see how blacksmithing was done and how they used to make tools. So you guys will have to come back and visit if you are available. June 26th from 3 to 7.
So this was designed to be gas powered. So this would be full fluid, and you would light it here, and then you would put it back up after you lit it. And that was the light. Now we have electricity, so this is now electric.
It's on the wall. That's what handcuffs would have looked like back then. These are handcuffs. And this is the lock to unlock it.
Thanks for coming, guys.